Hot live broadcast, take one.
Hi, my daddy poos.
I'm ARMTV Live.
Hey. Hi, I'm ARMTV Live.
My little daddy poo poo.
Hi guys, I'm ARMTV Live.
Shake it if you got it. Say it. Shake it.
Please, pretty please. Please, please, please.
Don't forget the duck. Okay.
Why isn't Travis Bagent in the wall arm wrestling?
Had to go to, and I got sued by the guy, and I had to go to court because I worked there forever. You know what? This is a whole nother episode, and it's already 4:30. We should probably wrap it up and then do this the next episode because I got a great story, but I've told it already. I've already told it once with Neil's thing, but I don't mind telling it again, and it's a good story.
I don't remember that story.
Yeah.
You told me that?
Yeah,
what
well,
episode?
you know what? I think Neil cut it out. You ought to ask him, but I'll tell it.
I just watched all 4 episodes. And
okay.
They cut it.
So he cut out the whole $250,000 contract and the $100,000.
Next episode. Travis Bagent,
yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, now listen, this may not be our first episode. We got to watch this, think about it, and make sure that we got.
We have to have multiple episodes.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying, just keep in mind that hopefully we learned a lot from. I don't care what you do. I love it. I want you to put it on mine though.
We're back.
How are you?
Travis Bagent. Before we get started, I think we should start this off by I have a couple if you have anything you need to tell the people out there, you should do that. And then I have a couple things that I want to tell the peeps out there. So can we start it off that way?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. So guys, thank you for joining us. Basically, this is for the most part, the ARMTV channel that has been launched on YouTube is older content. If you've been watching any of my story or getting caught up, then you by now have figured out that it's all old content. I haven't yet hit the road and filmed anything new. So the fun thing about these podcasts with Travis here and previously with Neil and Devon and the guys in Pakistan is that it's an opportunity to be kind of up to date. So I haven't really explained really the goals with ARMTV, so I just want to spend a minute to do that. Basically, what I would love is there's a lot of arm wrestlers we followed in the early days. Yes, there's some famous guys now, like Travis Bagent, still in the scene. Devon Bair, still in the scene. And if you follow from the beginning of when we start posting these videos, you'll obviously see the beginnings of these guys, or in the middle. I didn't know Travis when he was 19 or at 1997 Nationals, but when we meet him in 2004 or 2003, you'll see the progression over the 10 years, how he evolved into the beast. But the cool part is there's a lot of arm wrestlers that I haven't seen on the scene today that I would like to introduce you to that were awesome. Someone messaged oh, I don't know who Devon Bair is. I'm posting a clip tonight of Devon Bair going after the 4-wheeler. And it's these guys, I'd love if you follow the story from the beginning when we've already begun at the beginning, but if you follow along, I'd love for you to get to know these guys and know and live the sport as I lived it. And I think it's a unique opportunity. I don't think there's any other place in the world that is really offering anything like that. So it's kind of awesome. And I have people messaging me. Yes, I've teased out more later content. I put out stuff from 2008, 2010, but I'm doing that kind of to tease you about what to expect. But ultimately, when we get into a rhythm, I'm not going to fast forward. I'd like to do it as we did it. Eventually it'll just be right now it's 2004. Eventually it's going to get 2005. And as we lived it and experienced it, so will you. So that's kind of the goal. So don't email me asking for every single clip like from different time points, because it's just not doable. So anyways, that's kind of the goal with the channel. Anyways, something exciting happened, Travis. I got to tell you this. You know, I've mentioned Don Fritsche a million times over the course of my career, and he friend requested me. I was looking for him.
Me too today. I hit him today.
Yeah. So he friend requested me, and I was like, somebody told me that Don Fritsche had not really been involved in the sport. And I'm not saying that we played a role, but the timing is funny. That Don told me he's went to his first practice in like a long time. And what I would love to see after, let's say, a year of doing this, that all the guys who've been dormant, we see kind of like creep back in, you know? I'm a big fan of arm wrestling. I felt that we had played a good major role in helping keep people get excited about the sport. And I would love nothing more than to see all my old homies who maybe haven't been as involved start to like get back in there. So
of course. And I'm sure that you also would like for them to let you know that you are the reason that they're back.
I mean, it feels good. It feels good. Feels good. Anyways, you know, like you'd like to know that you're doing something good in the world. Everyone, you know, wants to feel valued, and you know, at the end of the day, it feels kind of rewarding to play a role. Like on Neil Pickup's podcast with me, when I talked about the last wall event I went to in New Orleans, and I was just a spectator, and I was sad. I was looking around at this big production, and I was like, this is my dream. And I left early. I didn't even watch the finals. I was so distraught as a human. I love arm wrestling, but I was not used to being just a spectator in a crowd. I liked being involved. I liked having a role, a major role. Anyways, I'm glad to be back and playing some sort of part in, if people come back in the sport. In fact, this young girl, she was my #1 fan. Her name was Taylor from the South. She messaged me too. She says, if you get back into the sport of arm wrestling, I will start training. And I was like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, after this video, they're going to come crawling out.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Welcome. Let's do it. There's nothing more that I would love to see, some sort of reunion event where like everyone who like I loved and hugged and felt like bros throughout the years just showed up when we just had fun arm wrestling. That would be awesome.
I think that'll happen. I think that'll happen. Yo!
Speaking of, oh, hey, she's my number, the only one commercial I ever produced, my star right there.
You need to grab that commercial and put it on our.
Oh, bro, it's coming out. It's
coming
out.
No, don't do that.
Travis, unfiltered.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm ARMTV. I'm Justin.TV. Don't forget the dot. We just finished a live broadcast. That's so funny you said that, because we just launched ARMTV Live. You can check out a broadcast right now. Well, I doubt it's nearly as good as ours, but I'll take a look.
Hi, I'm ARMTV Live.
It's pretty professional, right? Well, great. Bye. Oh, wait, don't go. Aren't you going to show us your broadcast?
Please, pretty please.
Okay. Hi, I'm Justin.TV's live broadcast.
Casey, I'm married, but you know I always had a place in my heart for you. You know,
Yeah.
forget about Travis, but I've always loved you.
Wow.
All right, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Okay, do you have anything you want to say to your audience?
No, well, I'll tell you the truth is everything that you're saying is I feel the same way from my perspective. I am happy you're back. I am super happy that I can piggyback off of some of your subscriptions here and utilize some of your energy. And I'm looking forward to watching all of that stuff too. It's amazing how I saw a clip today of my 20-year-old son was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
He was at that tournament that you're speaking with Devon Bair. And, you know, so seeing those clips, and I felt the same way. I think that probably everyone else did. They're like, damn, I'm glad the man's back. And, you know, I have a feeling that there's probably 1,000 people in this world that when they show people themselves arm wrestling, that it's because of you, right? Like before that, they'd have to carry that camera, and it was an absolute pain in the butt to do the editing and to get any kind of video worthwhile. And then I remember you doing those profiles of athletes and then just getting crushed with so many people wanting to do more of them. And so, yeah, I think that your importance is probably hard to recognize while you're doing it, but you're fortunate enough to have this little layoff, and now, you know, the people are coming back, and I'm sure you're going to get those stories too about, you know, about how you influenced, you know, their beginning, middle, or the end. I mean, even Devon Bair, I mean, let's think about that. How can you be that good and people now don't know who you are, right? And the reason is because if it's not documented and displayed, then it's, you know, you're just one little small generation away. Even in arm wrestling, it's not even a full generation. It's like a 10-year, 5-year span, and you could be over without. But the good thing is that there's a lot of 154-pound guys that are going to get to meet Mr. Bair because of you again, and they're also going to get to see what an extraordinary event that he took place in when you show that, because pretty good tournament there we had.
Well, already now from 2004, I posted a couple tournaments that you put on. It's like, I kind of, you're so big, you're such a big personality that I almost forgot that you were, in my career, you were a promoter from the very beginning, not just arm wrestler. Like, you were always putting on
Probably the third year. I'd say the third year where I was headed to other people's events, I finally decided, I think I was 21 years old, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna run a tournament, you know, here in Charlestown. So I had a real small one, and it's crazy how when you first get started, like I had all my cousins, my brothers-in-law, my neighbors, like we had 100 entries, and I'll bet you 60 of them were guys that had arm wrestled for the first time. And it was because of all the energy around becoming a new promoter. And then I found a little knack on the microphone, and I found that that was the hardest thing. When I went to tournaments, the you know, the microphone skills usually was not there. We had a high quality referee that kind of ran the event, and it was usually his wife or some aunt who was over there running the brackets, maybe a sister, and they would just have any guy calling the names. And then I remember just grabbing the mic and doing the little, you know, baseball thing. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing first, you know, the boxing thing. And I just remember the way the people looked. And there were some guys in the crowd that had been arm wrestling for a long time. Guys like Dave Patton, Artem, Junior Hostler. And I could tell that the energy was different. And so that was like, you know what? I think I might have a little something going on here. Not only can I, you know, run the tournament, but I can win the tournament, and I can make the thing bigger. And eventually, maybe, you know, I could be the Vince McMahon. I could be the guy. And I think that I've ran really good tournaments, and I've won really good tournaments. I don't know which one's better. It's close.
Well, let me cut you off there for a second, per our rules the other day. So I'm watching this clip, and it's going up tonight. It'll go up before this interview. But right away, in the very first scene, you introduced Brzenk. And I'm thinking to myself, Brzenk's not in this event. John Brzenk doesn't live in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Why the F is John Brzenk at this event? Like, how do you get Mike Solaris hanging out with John Brzenk? They're not even arm wrestling, and they're in West Virginia. How does that come to pass? I'm confused.
Yeah, so it's simple, right? We had a big event after the four-wheeler show upstairs. I'm sure you have those clips too, right?
Yeah.
Right, so the reason John Brzenk was there is because he backed Kevin Bongard's $1,000. I backed George Stanton's $1,000, and then Mike Solaris brought his $1,000. Bill Sinks brought his $1,000. Vepkia Semkaraza brought his $1,000. So there was a $5,000 purse. $4,000 to the winner, $1,000 to the guy in second place got his money back. So the reason John was there was, first of all, he's a gambler. He loves to gamble. He also has some friends back east, mainly Pat Nugent, Dave Patton. You know, he lived with Dave Patton, 25 years ago and trained with him, and they both worked, in the tree business. And so, we got to hang out with all those guys. So, and honestly, it was because I'm a bad dude. So I called him up and said, let's make this happen. What do we have to do? And it's a big deal the first time you get John Brzenk to come to the tournament. So
that event, it represents kind of like when people say, when they watch John arm wrestle and you see him all like flexing, you can tell he's a badass. But when you call them up just to like say, hey, this is John Brzenk, and he's walking up, and you just look at him in a t-shirt, you're just like, well, it doesn't look he doesn't look intimidating from that point of view. It's so
easy
amazing.
to root for. He's easy to root for.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
agree.
anyways, that's just one thing I caught from watching that video. So I was like, it's hard. Anyways, I have a correction. So I was confusing that event with the Crazy George event. I don't have the event of Kevin Bongard and George Stanton and Vebkia. I think John has that.
So then the reason John Brzenk was there then is because he was at the last event with Kevin Bongard and Crazy George and all those guys, and that this one was supposed to be even bigger and better. So that's why he came. That makes me think I'm even more of a bad dude that I got in there twice.
John Brzenk's like, where's Waldo? I'm looking through my footage and he just pops up like everywhere. Anyways, I want to move on to a very important point.
Yes.
Which is the Travis Bagent YouTube channel.
Yes.
I was doing my research last night, and I'm like, okay, I did all the podcasts, so now I've got to watch his videos. And I watched from beginning to end, and I was like, you started off strong. Like,
I started off with Artem. Artem helped me out at the beginning.
Well, why? How did that come to pass? Like, first of all, hold on. Go back. Why does Travis Bagent not start a YouTube channel till 2019? I'm confused.
The same reason that you started your YouTube channel about 2 weeks ago. Okay, so yeah.
What do you mean?
Don't judge. It's called life. It's called life. Okay? All right. It's called life. Listen. I'm all about the ideas. Actually, putting them in operation. Sometimes there's a delay there. I regretfully am not too comfortable with the whole technology thing. And, just putting this camera up here without anyone to engage with and trying to give some information is not the easiest thing for me. So I thought about it for the last 4 years, and we've talked about it. And finally, I just had a person say, listen, if you would do that, I'd like to go into business with you. So ultimately, that is the reason.
I heard you and Ryan were working something, or was it you and Artem? Like, what was the history?
Yeah, so Ryan was like you, 3-4 years ago. He says, Travis, why don't you have a YouTube channel? And I said, I don't really feel like messing with that. Then he gets an idea to join a few people. I think maybe sent out 6 or 7 little cameras and was telling people to just give him some content. He would manage the accounts. He sent the camera. I looked at the camera for a few months, and I just sent it back to him and just told him that, it still wasn't, an easy situation for me, even trying to figure out how to work the camera. So
hold on. That's not a bad idea, Ryan. I mean, if you had somebody who was willing to turn it on and was charismatic like yourself, that is a good way to get content, but you weren't having it.
I mean, it sounded great, but then I had to actually get the camera out and start doing it all. And that's where there was a delay, right? And so because I love Ryan, I just gave the camera back and was like, yeah, I love you, but it ain't going to work out. One of these days I am going to do it, but I'm going to do it on my own. Okay.
So on your YouTube channel, like 90% of the videos say 9 months ago, 9 months ago, 9 months ago, 9 months ago. And I was like, oh, he was hot. Then someone commented, he like 4,000 new subscribers in like weeks. You were hot.
It was awesome. Yeah, well, all it is content. That's all it is. So Artem came to my house 9 months ago with for the weekend, and we busted out a bunch of videos. And then the plan was to do some more videos, send them to him, but it's not that easy. Like there's an app that you're supposed to send the videos, but it's not that easy. Plus Artem works full time. He's editing for Ryan on the side, and he's trying to run his own YouTube channel, so the fact is, if I lived beside Artem or I was your neighbor, we would be busting shit out. But you'll find that, and maybe me and you'll be different, but this situation right here, me and Artem didn't have the opportunity to really do. Although we probably could have, but it was never really thought of it that way. We had some great ideas, right? Like, tell me this wouldn't be awesome if we had a camera set up and we did these wild training, right? Workouts of the week, right? So 1 week of programming with one of the best arm wrestlers in the world, right? Now, knock out the whole video in 25 minutes, and then there would be some smaller videos to detail some of the movements. And then at the end of the week, there was always one workout, similar to a WOD, right?
Well, so when I was watching your thing and I saw you doing the plates, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna start doing that. It's like, oh, this is good.
Right. So once again, if we were neighbors, wild training would be hot, right? We'd send out the weak sauce t-shirt for the winner at the end of you had to submit your video in order to make sure that your workout was completed correctly, full range of motion, the whole situation. So once again, sounds great, but the operation of it not as easy. Right?
So all those videos was just one visit from Artem?
3 days.
So I didn't want to start this with you, and I didn't want to do episode 1 until I knew I could do episode 50. It was like, I wasn't going to start unless I could commit to it. I didn't want to start posting to YouTube until I could assure that I was going to follow through. So why visit 1 without knowing the end game? Visit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, I think it's the same reason we did ours yesterday. We still have absolutely zero of a full out plan.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the only way to get started is to do it.
Yeah.
So I was very pumped when Artem was here. Like when Artem was upstairs, we would roll out there at 8 in the morning, then we'd go eat lunch, then we'd back at it. And then, it was just super fun to collaborate. He's a great guy.
How did you pick Artem? Was that a connection via
Artem
Ryan?
is on the East Coast and the cheapest. No, he's my buddy. I mean, just a cheap guy from Orlando, super inexpensive plane ticket. And then I gave him a $400 camera, and he's like, yo, I'll come up for the weekend. Good dude. Of course, I think Artem, like me and you back in the day, the idea sounds like we all might make $1 million. But in actuality, Artem's out there doing all the editing. Absolute pain in the ass, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's hard.
And listen, if you want to start a YouTube channel, but you had to pay somebody $250 a video, how long is your business going to operate?
Well, you got to have Kaplan money.
Of course, right. So, the good thing about Artem and you is you have the ability from a technical standpoint to put up content.
Yeah.
The good thing for me is I have what people maybe want to hear, right? Or maybe they click on it because it can be displayed a little different. So there's a good team, but obviously the guy doing all the editing, I think, runs out of steam before the idea guy runs out of steam.
So we got to pause for station identification. My first sponsor, we have to announce that this channel, nor the ARMTV YouTube channel, would not be possible without my first sponsor, which is my lovely wife, Mrs. Caroline Roberts. I happen to be in a position where I just had a baby. She makes more money than I do. And it was agreed upon that I would be the stay-at-home dad. And when I met her, I was not in the sport of arm wrestling. And it was really a touchy situation to be like, hey, honey. So this girl would have never spoken to me in high school. Classy girl, like 1 point away from being valedictorian, smartest girl in her class, Dartmouth graduate, alumni, INSEAD Business School, International Business School, would have never given me the time of day back then. And so when I meet her, I'm right, peak CrossFit fitness, crushing it, and, making CrossFit videos. And we connected, fell in love. And I told her about arm wrestling, but it obviously played an integral role to where I was in my life. But the idea of getting back into arm wrestling never occurred to me when I was dating her. So it never was touched on us. It's sort of like, let's say you're a bum today, but in high school, you were the high school star quarterback, and you meet your girl, you're like, yeah, I was a star quarterback once, but not anymore, sadly, sort of like that. So when this whole opportunity presents itself and I'm like, honey, I know when we met, the idea of getting into arm wrestling was never a thing. And I was like, but suddenly overnight, I didn't realize the archive would have value. And I'm like, and it was really scary because she could have shut me down, bro. But she's like, go for it. You do it. You do you hit it. And then I was like, oh shit, this is taking a lot of time. This could be like a job. I thought when I started posting ARMTV videos that it would just be a part-time thing. But you know me, I can't do, when I first started CrossFit, the original plan with Devon Bair was he's like, I picture you doing 50% CrossFit, 50% ARMTV and balancing. And I just can't do it. I'm an all or nothing guy. And that's just the way I am. And this has turned into me just diving head deep. I've spent a lot of hours going through all this footage, trying to get it ready. The stuff I released back in the day, it was good then, but now I know so much more about production value and I've had to re-edit. And anyways, my first official sponsor is that wonderful woman, because we would not be here without her support and allowing me to do this. But
that, just put it in the contract right now. If she comes to her wits and tells you to stop this shit, you give me all the archive footage, I'll take over from there.
All right. Well, I don't think that'll happen. But that being said, for anyone out there, Travis and I talked about this being like, I can't commit to you that we will do this for 50 years, this podcast here, but I'm having fun with Travis. As long as we're having something to talk about, I have no problem continuing doing this with you. It's a way to connect with the audience. But I do know in the podcast world that they have sponsors. So if someone out there is watching and wants to have their like little ching shiny product right here or whatever, and you want to give us money so we hawk your item.
We hope you like the content. Thanks for stopping by. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Now click that little bell icon so you get notified. This was Gary Roberts. Travis Bagent Live.
Damn it!
Do something else. Don't ever say them two names to me again.
This is a heck of a table.
Son, I knew that when they made this table all week long, we've been nailing this thing together. We've been sweating.
Hey, I told your mother you'd amount to something one day. When you got this restaurant, I knew it was a proud day in the family. The Nugent family.
It always had the pretty face. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, we're at the Dave Patton Classic title sponsor dinner from John Nugent and Son. Yeah, we did it last year. We do it again. So usually we're missing John, and that's John Brzenk right over there in the corner.
Say hi, John. Where's John Brzenk?
John Brzenk is in Salt Lake City. He'll be viewing us via webcam here shortly.
What's that? His dinner's for you. I see your name right on there.
I guess. I didn't know anything about it.
That's classy.
I've never seen him look that slicked up and clean and calm. Could you put that on?
Me? Oh, Gary Roberts, ARMTV. We are at the Dave
Travis, help me
Patton
out there,
Classic
buddy.
title sponsor dinner.
How do we describe Gary?
Where are you at?
Yeah, Casey, tell them what happened when I
Casey,
Sean.
tell
Tell them what happened when I
tell the
Sean.
truth.
Boom.
Bounced off of him. Like,
Sean landed like 8 feet over there.
If you
Yeah,
moved that
no,
guy
Travis
8
bounced
feet,
off
you
of
are
him.
the man, and I know that didn't happen.
You think you tight with Dave? You think you tight with him? Ask him
Wait a
what your
minute.
last name
Okay.
is.
Wait a minute, I think I figured it out. Brian's his last name. I've heard him called Cry Baby Brian.
Okay, tell the story.
Oh, just when Travis first started coming over training, I mean.
Okay, hold up and let me set this up. First of all,
All right.
Artie Ebling and Junior Hostler used to go to Dave's way before I did, right? So Artie comes up to me 2 weeks before I go to Dave's for the first time, and I'm at this nightclub, and Artie walks up and says, "Hey man, you been telling people you've been beating me, man?" And I'm like, yeah, we've been arm wrestling every week, and sometimes I win. So yeah, I think I probably said I'm right there. He's like, "Oh yeah, well you know that shit ain't cool." Then he goes to Dave's, right? So when I show up to Dave's, this is what I walk in. I see, hey, that's that dude. That's the one. That's the one, right? In other words, they done set me up. When I get down here, they're gonna make sure that Dave torches me, right? So as soon as I get there,
about this.
yeah. Well, okay. All I know is when I got up there, Dave's snarling. I'm like, all right, so go ahead. Go ahead, continue with this.
He's lying. I didn't even know anything about that. But the funny thing about Travis back then, if he had to pull more than a quarter of a second, he would just.
I was
give
about
up.
hand control. I was all about hand.
He'd go. He'd be ready, go. And he could have the guy like right here, almost ready to pin him. The guy stopped him. Just let his arm down.
I don't want her ball.
Just let it down. And if you stopped him, he hit you, boom, and you stop him. Just like that. I mean, he would not pull for more than a quarter of a second.
Well, also too, there's these guys that I seen come to Dave's house, and they say ready to go, and Dave just wrist curl them and then look at them, right? And these guys are like, I just decided not to be that guy. That's all I did. I just decided not to be that guy. I did not want to be that guy. Plus, Dave had a problem losing at his house. He would never lose one match. Never. Ever.
Is that true, Dave?
That's a fact.
I mean, I would lose all the time.
Yeah, right. I never seen it. He waited till I left.
Well, I mean, if somebody could beat me, I mean, I'd stay up on the table all night arm wrestling.
That's right. Now, if you was there all night, then how the hell did you lose? Because if you lose, you gotta leave the table. You never lost. He never lost. Never lost.
If
Never
he
lost.
stayed up at the table and kept
He
going,
never lost.
whoever arm wrestling got better by pulling.
That's arguable. It's arguable whether
Have you ever beat the barbell? Have you ever beat it?
Never.
Have you ever walked out of the room and it's all bent up and you're in the corner whimpering over there? No. I mean, Dave is providing you with a piece of equipment that you just couldn't beat and you don't like it.
Well, and it's also too, it's like, you going to the tournament next week? No, I didn't even win a match of practice this week. I'm good. I'm gonna wait to have one successful evening up there before I go out. I won 3 national championships, 242, without winning a practice. That's a fact.
What year are we talking about?
We're talking 99, 2000, 2001.